Hello and welcome to this episode of the State of Mirrorless with your hosts André and Ugo. Our guest today is my partner from F-Stop Lounge, Leigh Diprose. Hey Leigh, welcome to the show. How are you doing, mate?
I'm really well, thank you, mate. It's beautiful here.
That's good to hear. Here it's not really good. The weather is all messed up, but let's talk a bit about you and your photography. Tell us something about you.
Well, first of all, I'm based in Australia, in Melbourne, and I enjoy photography. I've been in the photography industry for over 14 years now, and I thoroughly enjoy wedding photography, landscape photography, wildlife photography, talking to you guys, doing stuff online, engaging with people. So I'm a bit of an all-rounder. I don't like to just categorize myself as a landscape photographer or a so-called photographer. But yeah, that's pretty much me.
Awesome. So what's in your camera bag? What do you shoot with?
Well, I used to shoot with Canon exclusively. I was a Canon fanboy. So my first Canon camera was a 350D, and then I moved on and progressed to the Canon 40D. As many of you may know, it was a good magnesium solid alloy body, and an array of L series lenses, and worked my way up from the 1D3 and then the 1D4, and used that as my primary kit for quite a while. And alongside that, I was shooting a lot of Nikon and a lot of Olympus as well. So just recently, the last wedding I shot, well, a couple of weddings ago, was the Nikon DF and the Nikon D800E. But, you know, something swayed me during my time with shooting Canon to grab the Fuji X Pro 1. Do you remember that camera? Ugo, you probably remember that more than anyone else.
I've never used the camera, but I've seen people use it.
Yeah, don't you use a Fuji yourself?
I do use a Fuji, but I use the X100S and the XE2.
Okay,
I'm not a pro,
right.
so that's why I don't use the X Pro.
Okay. Well, the X Pro 1 for me was like the bee's knees. It was basically this solid bit of metal with a lot of manual control on the actual camera. So it had the aperture ring on the XF lenses. It had all the dials in the right spot. It's like it was designed for a photographer. So I was taking photos on that in low light and comparing them against my Canon. I was realizing, gosh, there's not much difference between the two, and there's a huge difference in weight. So I was shooting quite, digital SLRs with the backup being mirrorless. But now it's sort of gone the other way. Now I actually work for Fujifilm Australia as an area business manager and social media specialist, and I'm so thankful that I'm working for this company because I'm able to use the cameras for personal use and just really share the love. It's good.
Awesome. So what is your what's your favorite camera lens combination?
Oh gosh. Well, other than a phase 1, probably something like an XT1 and the 56mm 1.2. They just got the top awards in the European show for a reason. They're just a brilliant piece of kit, and I'm finding a lot of wedding photographers are actually switching over to that sort of kit over their digital SLRs. So that's my pick of the bunch. Would you agree with that, Ugo?
With the XE1, the XE2 definitely, it's the same camera, only better, and I definitely love it.
Yeah.
I tried the 56-1.2, great lens. Probably not going to buy it anytime soon because I don't do many. It's very specialistic portrait lens mostly.
Yeah.
And it really shines in that. I don't do a lot of portraits. So I'm a fan of the 35-1.4.
Yep.
Which I use also.
That's a good lens.
Street photography or general kind of purpose lens.
Yeah.
And
okay.
I just yesterday there was a concert here, and I took some photos as part of the audience with the 55-200, which is, while it's a consumer zoom, it's a variable aperture, it's not a fast professional f2.8.1, but I got great results. I pushed up the ISO to 3200, and shot a huge number of photos and some very
Okay.
good. And image
Cool.
stabilization on that lens is great. So
Hmm.
I say those are the my two favorite lenses at the moment are the 35 and the 55 to 200. I'm cheap, you know. I cannot afford the 56.
No worries.
Those sound like great combinations of lenses and cameras. So, besides the weight, what do you think, Leigh, is so great about mirrorless systems?
Oh, well, I have to give my friends over at Mirror Lessons a plug. And those guys over there, they're crazily good and in love with mirrorless cameras, and for a reason. They see sort of a trend in the market, and I see that trend as well. So many photographers are saying, that it was the size and the weight, it was a big thing, but now it's the image quality. We're finding just camera technology is just increasing every year. Especially we've got Photokina coming up. There's going to be, I'm sure, some pretty cool stuff from Olympus, some stuff from Nikon, some stuff from Canon, some stuff from Fuji. Everyone releases stuff around then. But the things I like: size, weight, image quality. They're the things. Yeah.
Yeah, they're quite a killer combo. But you shot many DSLRs before, so do you miss anything?
I suppose the only thing that I probably do miss a little bit is when I'm actually looking through a optical viewfinder, a digital SLR, and I go and take the photo. I like that mirror popping up. That little blackout that you get that happens through the viewfinder. It's only a little thing, but maybe I'm just hanging on too much. Yeah, and I also like the sound of the shutter as well. The click clack going up and down. But I don't really miss it. I don't really miss breaking my back on a 12-hour day carrying around two digital SLRs at a wedding. It's the last wedding I shot. I had hardly any gear, so it was good. It was really good.
Yeah, I don't miss that optical viewfinder at all. I thought I would maybe miss it initially, but I really love the electronic viewfinder of the XC2. And well, this is one of the photos I took yesterday.
Yeah, it's pinch up. You can see the hair and everything. It's beautiful.
Yeah, I was manually focusing the whole time, and having the manual focus assist in the viewfinder, especially the focus peaking, that allowed me to never miss a shot due to bad focus.
Perfect.
And always using the electronic viewfinder, so bright and sharp.
Cool.
Awesome. So, Leigh, do you think that DSLRs will die out soon, or that mirrorless is the future, or that we're going back, perhaps even, or what do you think?
That's a very good question. I see it really two sides of the fence. I work for Fujifilm, obviously, but my main sort of focus outside of work is with F-Stop Lounge, which is a site that we founded together. So we'll go into that a little bit later, I'm sure. But yeah, two sides of the fence. You've got the micro four thirds and the APS-C mirrorless section, and then you've got the full frame, being Canon and Nikon. Okay, and the way I see it, Canon and Nikon made a product. They made the J1, the V1 series, right up to the V3, I think it is now, and Canon made the EOS M. And weren't they just a failure? I remember picking up the EOS M for the first time on Canon's launch night, and I was thinking, fantastic, this is going to be great. Pick up the camera and take some product shots, and I'm like, where's the focus? Is it on manual focus? I'm like, no, it's automatic focus. Sure enough, they addressed it and they brought out a firmware update, but we really haven't seen anything since then. And the way I see the future of mirrorless is, I'm not sure if Canon and Nikon are deliberately not bringing out stuff in the mirrorless sort of market, so to try and further promote their digital SLR sales. Or, I see two sides. That's them, and then I see brands like Sony, brands like Olympus, brands like Fujifilm, developing all this technology and putting it all into their cameras and it's just outclassing in so many aspects the Canon and Nikons of the world. That's why we're seeing so many sort of photographers jump ship over to those brands. So, you know, I think there might be a decline, but there'll still be a market for digital SLR. There'll still be the purist that likes the bigger bodies, but ideally, for the majority out there, you're going to see a rise in mirrorless, and that's going to happen over the next sort of 3 to 4 years.
Thanks for the insight.
No worries.
So you mentioned f-stop lounge. What's that?
Well, if you haven't been to f-stop lounge, then you're missing out, because f-stop lounge is a little crazy little site that we should probably go through the history of how it started.
Oh yeah.
We actually all met. So Ugo, Andre, and myself. I first met Andre, I think, on a hangout.
Yes.
Was that right? Yeah.
Yes, that's absolutely right.
So a mutual hangout, which is like a video chat, like what we're doing now. We had 10 people in the group, I'm sure, and everyone was around the world, and we're just like talking, and you know, it became sort of a daily thing. And Ugo sort of jumped in as well, I think. That's how we met. But I, at the time, was developing my own little brand called Camera Ed, after Camera Education. And Andre, I think you were developing a brand at that point in time. Was that right?
Right, I was developing a kind of a social media site with about cameras and gear. And yeah, we met. We talked about exactly this topic, and we found out that we were doing the same thing at the same time, and we decided to kind of team up.
That's right. That's right. And that's how f-stop lounge was started. We were trying to think of names. Even Dead Pixel came up. Zach obviously spelt it much better than we did. But, you know, I think it was Andy Gray that came up with the name with Paul Kachugan, fstoplounge.com, or Lounge, as you used to call it in German language.
Thanks for mentioning that.
Oh, it was part of the history. And then we're looking for contributors. So the first people that we turned to were our friends on Google Plus, who are passionate about photography as much as we are. And that's how Ugo's now on f-stop lounge as a contributor. And we've had various contributors over the years, and some who are still on the site from the day dot.
Great.
Yeah. So I think f-stop lounge is a really good tool for anyone that's just interested in photography. It's a nice place to hang out, and we've got some exciting news. Like we're developing a new site at the moment, so that's going to be launched very, very shortly, and it's very community orientated. It links to our Google Plus photographers community, which now has over 125,000 photographers on there, which we're pretty excited about. But we will be merging that with our website and creating a lot more interaction on the site.
That's the plan.
Yes. Yeah.
So since you're the social media specialist at Fuji, did I get that right?
Sort of, yes. Yeah.
So what's your take on social media for photography? I remember that when we met on Google Plus, because Google Plus, when it started out, was the place for photographers to be.
That's right.
But then maybe it didn't grow as Google expected. And Facebook is still going strong. We're seeing sort of a rebirth of Flickr.
Yes.
I've recently seen a lot of activity on Flickr.
Yes.
So what would you recommend a budding photographer who maybe wants to grow on social media to?
That's a very good question again. If you're after views and things like that and a strong community, I'd recommend starting off with Google Plus. Google Plus is not only has photographers on there, but there's also a lot of geeks who are interested in photography and just the general sort of the younger demographic who you can really learn from. And if you're starting out and you're wanting some help or something like that, Google Plus is the place. Now, if you're wanting a second platform to promote your work, then Flickr is something I'd recommend. Now, I never used to say that. I probably wouldn't have said that last month, even a month before, but they seem to be gathering momentum, as you said, Ugo. You know, I've seen the platform develop and change over and over again, but I think they've got it right at this point in time. So there's certainly that. And then if you're locally minded, then maybe a Facebook business page might be a great idea. But in my opinion, it's definitely going to be Google+, definitely going to be Flickr, and you can measure it all with a great social networking tool, which I use Clout.com, and that gives me a measurement of my social successes.
Good.
Interesting, yes. Let's get back to mirrorless cameras. Are there some photographers out there that you really admire that use mirrorless cameras, or that you would recommend to check out their work?
To be honest, André, let me be frank and clear here. I used to shoot a lot. I used to take tons and tons of photos and post them online daily. I ran a blog for 3 years and posted a photo just about every day, every second day, gamut of work. But nowadays, I don't really go out that much and shoot. And the reason being, I'm writing articles for F-Stop Lounge, interacting with other photographers, interacting with other social media sites, you know, and doing all that sort of stuff. So when it comes to a particular photographer, I probably couldn't put my name on someone, but I see a lot of photos in my job, obviously working for Fujifilm, and yeah, there's so many talented people out there, and I think if you're a photographer, it's very hard to get yourself noticed in this sometimes confusing space, which is called online. So you've got to stick to your guns and, you know, create your own style and stick with it. And I think that's how you make it. And if you keep doing the same thing you're doing, you'll eventually get noticed.
I totally agree on that. I've seen some stunning images, and when I checked out who shot them, I've never heard this name before, but
yeah, I mean, I've seen great stuff on that. Yeah,
with great work, and they never get noticed, or yeah. And
that's why we started Photo of the Day, really, on F-Stop Lounge.
Absolutely.
To try and help promote that. We haven't been going since the start of the month, but that's because we've been developing a new site. But that will eventually kick back up, and you'll see a lot more of that. So we'll hopefully be bringing the amateurs, enthusiasts, and professionals to light when they share their photos on our community. So, yeah.
Awesome.
I think especially with the rise of mirrorless systems, that means that more and more people will be able to have a great camera which takes great quality pictures in their hands everywhere they go, because they're so small and practical and easy to use. We already see so much good quality photography coming from amateurs online, as you mentioned, the Photo of the Day on F-Stop Lounge and communities and so on, and Flickr. That really, if you're a professional photographer who is paid to take photos of places or people, it's probably becoming harder and harder. So you maybe made the right choice to concentrate on something else and not just take photos for money.
That's right. You know, I think part of F-Stop Lounge is, you know, we try and promote to bring the photographers of the world together, and that's, you know, on our about page, and, you know, hopefully later in the year, definitely next year, we want to start doing that. So we've got some pretty exciting stuff happening next year, which you'll soon hopefully hear about. Can't divulge into that too much at the moment, but there's some pretty cool stuff coming, and yeah, I think it's very exciting to see someone who's just picked up a camera and take their first great shot. You know, the smile that they get on their face, you know, the joy that they have in sharing that image with the rest of the community. It's, yeah, priceless. It's good.
So now that Ugo mentioned it, like, people just pick up the camera and it's high quality and they take high quality shots with these little mirrorless systems. do you think that more enthusiasts will pick mirrorless cameras over compact cameras or high-quality compact cameras?
As in like a compact pro, like a G series in a Canon or a.
For example, yeah. Do you think those will start?
Yeah, I think we'll start seeing a lot more people go to a mirrorless system over the compact pro. Now I know the compact cameras is going to be non-existent. Obviously, everything's mobile photography now.
Yeah.
But the camera technology that's been invested, like the R&D sort of behind it, everything has to be instant, and you're getting that on a mirrorless camera. You're not seeing that so much on a digital SLR. You know, you've got to buy little attachments for things to work, to your Wi-Fi to connect, and manufacturers are slowly jumping on board on, you know, the apps and things like that, but it's taking time. And I just see that mirrorless cameras, people will be going to them because that's where the technology and the R&D is going into. We're not seeing so much of the R&D going into a compact pro like we did, you know, 3 years ago. Whereas now, I think the focus is on the mirrorless race. You know, it's the race to be the best. And there's so many great mirrorless cameras out there, you know, and I strongly encourage you to try them all. It's very, very good.
Thanks, Leigh. Yeah, that's it from my side. Ugo, do you have any additional questions?
More than a question, I would like to, first of all, maybe clarify what I said earlier. I said that so many people are picking up those cameras and they're taking great photos, but it's not the camera, right? It's not the gear.
That's right. It is.
You cannot just expect. So maybe a bit of an advice to people who really wanted to grow and learn to take great pictures. Where I think you mentioned Google Plus. That's a great community there where people can get critique of the work or even free education sometimes. Do you have anything to recommend in that respect?
Yeah, can I just give a Google Plus tip here, because a lot of people jump on Google Plus for the first time and get freaked out. They're just like, oh my god, I post a photo, no one can see it, and I'm not getting any engagement. What's happening? And they expect it to be like Facebook, where they add their friends and stuff. Don't think it like that. It's not. That's not how it works. So Google Plus works. If you're a photographer, Google Plus is created for you to reach out to like-minded people, people that you admire, people that you'd never come across in your life, from the other side of the world or, you know, just down the street. So you can type in the search bar photography or landscape photography, and it will bring up all these amazing photos that are hashtagged. And then all you do is you just go through and you choose photos you like and check out the user's profile and connect with them. And I'm sure that they'll connect back with you. And then when you share a photo next time, that photo appears on their wall and there's some engagement. So that's how you really build relationships on Google+. And I think it's really important to understand that if you're just starting out in this social media space. And yeah, I like what you said before, Ugo, that it's not the camera that takes the photo, it's the user.
Definitely, yes. It's just a tool. And
that's right. That's right. They need an automated camera that grows legs and, you know, frames composition, and that's going to be years and decades away.
A fool with a tool is still a fool.
That's right. That's exactly right. Yeah, but I'm hanging out to get Google Glass. That's my next camera of choice when it comes to Australia. Google fanboy right here.
Great.
Okay, that's it for this episode. Thanks for being here, Leigh. And
no worries. Thank you for having me. I really, really appreciate it.
Yes, it was a great time. Thank you.
Well, where can people find you? I guess fstoplounge.com.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, have a look on my little lower thirds. And I've got some other sites, but I'm going to be closing those sites down and just purely focusing on F-Stop Lounge. So my wedding business, which I do a lot of weddings in Perth, sadly, I'm going to pull the plug on that. I enjoy doing weddings, but the focus now has to be on F-Stop Lounge, bringing photographers of the world together.
That's a great mission statement.
Yes, yes. It's a big task. There's a lot of photographers out there. All right, guys. Thanks very much.
You're welcome. Thanks.